Welcome to the Post Shift Podcast, your raw look at the hospitality industry, brought to you by SHC.
Start that again. So guys, welcome to a Post Shift Podcast. This week, a couple of weeks ago, I did like one that was sort of a seminar-y sort of feel. This is the very first Post Shift Podcast in my new studio. As you can see behind me, I got my full bar set up. Going to be doing tons of content for BC Spirits and other stuff. I'm rocking out my cold room Joy Division style shirt with the rubber duckies from Montreal. I'm actually going to be starting collecting bar shirts so that I can support my friends as best I can, and I'll be showcasing them on my social media. But let's get this off. So it's almost 9 p.m. here, and this actually segues pretty well into what I'm going to be thinking about and what I'm doing today, which is goal setting. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Just give me 2 seconds here. There we go. I'm going to turn this into a slideshow. Okay. So I'm going to call this the circle of goal setting. Now, usually I do triangles. Today I'm doing a circle. So the circle of goal setting. Now, I talk a lot about goal setting. I talk about hard work. I talk about patience. That sort of thing. I actually didn't use patience in this slide, which I'm really surprised that I didn't, but I'm going to have to mention it anyway. But this is my circle of goal setting. This is my realities of goal setting. You've got your goal at the very, very top, always at the top. You go to work ethic, work-life balance, which we'll talk about, which we've talked about a ton actually. Work ethic and work-life balance, we've talked about tons. And then self-awareness. Self-awareness portion of this is going to be really, really important. So as always, your goals. Are they realistic? Are you trying to be a rapper at 45, which I'm not saying you can't be, but are you trying to do goals? Are you trying to make $1 million by the time you're 25? The big ones for this one, actually the 2 points, are they attainable in the time you have set for them? I get a ton of young bartenders I sit down and mentor and have coffee with and chat about and talk with about this sort of stuff because they want the Dal de Groff, the Gaz Reagan, the Philip Duff, the Julie Reiner, the Audrey Schwarner style, or I'll even use myself as an example, style sort of lifestyle, like the junket trips and the cocktail competitions and all. They put so much pressure on themselves to attain this stuff by the time they're like 22, 23. It's just too much pressure. And there's a social media pressure, like this person's doing this and this person's doing that. Why can't I get that? I'm in here, da, da, da. So are they realistic? Are they attainable in the time you've set for them? When you're 22, I've talked about this before, when you're fucking 22 years old, you've only really been alive, in my opinion, for about 4 years, maybe 3. And I'll tell you why. From the ages 1 to 5, I've actually done a podcast on this. From the ages 1 to 5, you'll basically learn how to be a human being. Eating, drinking, pooping, walking, talking, that sort of thing. From 5 to 15, you're just trying to figure out like where you exist in this universe. You're going through changes, you're going to school, you got friends, all these different things. From 15 to 18, you're really developing into a human. And then from 18, when you leave high school, you leave all that external bullshit and the fucking high school mentality and all this sort of crap. You sort of go into the world by yourself. Hopefully you leave home, you get a place by yourself or some mates, and you hang out, and you really start to come into your own. So really, we're talking about like 18 years worth of development, like outside the womb, 18 years of development outside the womb, but you've got the wondrousness of the 4 years where you learn how to, I'm going to make my screen a little bit bigger because it seems silly to do a seminar without my face. You've got the wonderment of learning how to be yourself by yourself without your parents bothering you, without your stupid friends from high school, the bully, all this sort of stuff, all this sort of external pressure. So when you're 22 years old, guys, you're still so young. Take it from a guy who's going on 40 this year. When I was fucking 22, I wanted to open my own bar by the time I was 30. I did it by the time I was 33. Good goal to set. I did it. But man, I put so much pressure on myself to do these things. When I took over Clive's, I was 29 when I took over Clive's. So I talk to these young bartenders who want to have this sort of high-end cocktail bravado. Wow, huge. And I'm like, I took over Clive's at 29. Clive's didn't become Clive's until I was 31 and 32. And then I opened Little Jumbo at 33. Then I did all this stuff, and I'm going on 40 now. And I look back at me leaving Little Jumbo 2014 to now. I'm like, holy shit, all the stuff I've done in 6 years is insane. So Time is your best friend. Be patient. Patience. There you go. I didn't put it in the slide, but patience. And what do you need to make these happen? Now, this is a segue into the next one. Work ethic. Now, everybody can say, I've got great work ethic. I can work X amount of hours. I can do this, But can you make the sacrifices? It's 9 o'clock right now. My family's upstairs, and I'm in my studio. My family's upstairs in the living room watching a movie, waiting for me to come up and hang out with them. I'm making the sacrifice to get this work done so that tomorrow I might be a little bit ahead. Can you make those sacrifices mentally, physically? Now, mentally, I can push myself through this. Physically, my body at my age, I'm not as fit as I should be. It's not doing as well as it should. Do you have the mental capacity to do this? This is a big one. Like everybody, like the hospitality industry has this sort of toxic masculinity, toxic bravado. It's like, oh, if you only work 7 hours, it's a part-time job. Or if you did 12 hours, it's a part-time job. This is the mental capacity you need to get through this. For me, I've been bred like this. I think it's in my DNA. It's deep down inside me. I started working full-time when I was 13 years old. So I started working full-time when I was 13 years old, plus going to school full-time. I worked for my family. I sacrificed my party years. I didn't do anything in high school, but come home on a Friday afternoon, say to my mom, literally like physically say to my mom, this is before social media and text messages and stuff like that. Literally say to my mom, I was like, oh, so have we got a lot of work on this weekend? And she'd be like, yep, really, really busy. Got tons of stuff to do. We've got like 5 jobs in town. We've got to work on landscaping. And I'm like, cool. Sacrifice my party time going to like made me super socially awkward when I left high school, but it made me that person that I am now. And I am willing to sacrifice sleep. I'm willing to sacrifice myself to get to my goals. And the mental capacity is a big one. I've struggled with my mental health. You've seen it on social media. I've struggled with my mental health over the years. Bit by bit, I get better and better. Some days I have really bad days. Some days I have really good days. And do you have any hurdles to make this happen? Do you have any hurdles? Now, this is a big segue into the next slide, which is work-life balance. Do you have people that rely on you? Now, my wife, Jillian, is by far the most understanding person I've ever had in my life. Period. Full stop. No questions asked. The most understanding person in my life. I work Clive's for 35, 40 hours a week. I work 80 hours a week with all my businesses and companies. I maybe spend 2 to 3 hours every couple of days spending with her and Mila Grace. Mila Grace is a super understanding young lady as well. And so those people that rely on me understand who I am and what I do to achieve my goals and to do things for them. Obviously, with COVID, we can't travel. I'd love to go on a vacation. I'm dying for a vacation with my family, but right now we can't. But this is the things. It's like, do you have people that rely on you? And are they understanding of what you want to do? So can you put your goals before yourself? Again, it goes back to that mental health. That's the thing. So one thing I always say to young managers, especially when they open new restaurants or open new bars, is what would you prefer? Would you prefer to work 60 to 80 hours a week for 3 months, get it done, get it dialed in, everybody's happy, yes, you're exhausted at 3 months, but you maybe take a weekend off? Or work 40 hours a week for 6 to 12 months to have it dialed in? And this is the real reality. Like, this work-life balance is something that you have to be very, very wary of. And it goes back to the goals. Are they attainable? Do you want to have weekends off? Do you want to binge watch Netflix on the weekend? Do you want to go away on your days off? These sort of things. Do you want to have days off? This is a big one too. Like, I don't get days off. I get afternoons off. And so this is the big thing. It's like, can you put it before yourself? Now, this is the big one. Are you willing to make the hard choices? Are you willing to miss birthdays? Are you willing to miss like parties, social outings, that sort of stuff? These are big choices you got to make. And it leads into self-awareness. So this is a big one. And I really, 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 really want to stress this one big time for you guys, is that, do you know yourself well enough? Obviously at 22, you don't know yourself well enough. I don't care how woke you are. You don't know yourself well enough. You don't know how you are when you're with a partner and living with a partner. You don't know yourself like that. Like, a lot of people think they know themselves until they move in with a partner, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, this is not what I expected it to be. Do you know yourself well enough? This is a big one. Are you making ground? Self-awareness. Are you making ground Are you pushing? Are you getting to that point where you're happy? There's a lot of companies and a lot of things that I do, and bit by bit, like I have my rough weeks where nothing happens. It's like fucking molasses on a winter's day. Nothing's happening. Or I should say maple syrup on a winter's day, but molasses on a winter's day, nothing happens. And then all of a sudden the next week is like bang, 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 and you're just like, oh, it's like adrenaline, and you just get going. Are you making ground? Are you pushing towards your goals and you're making good ground? Because this stuff, all like self-awareness, all rotates around. Are you happy? Are you making ground? Are you getting to where you want to be? Can you push through the hard times? This goes back to that mental health issue that I was talking about. I have really bad weeks, and I'm going to be open with you about this. Like, my wife is super supportive on all this. I have my horrifically bad weeks where I'm in the hole, and I really have to push myself. Like, I feel like I'm wearing concrete shoes, and I have to push myself every day to get tasks done, to get that ground. And so, can you push through those hard times? Now, self-awareness, I talk about, like, do you need an afternoon off? Take a fucking afternoon off. Shit's going to be there tomorrow. Do you need a day off? Do you need 2 days off? Do you need 3 days off? It's all going to be there tomorrow. But you can't complain, and I do a lot, but you can't complain that taking 3 days off is going to put you behind 3 days. If that's the real grind you want to do. And I hate using grind. I hate using hustle. I do agree that it has been demonized with burnout and stuff like that. But that self-awareness still comes into play. Like, can you do this? Can you go the next day? Can you go the next day? Do you know your breaking point is a big one. So always go back to this regularly. Like, always go back to this regularly. Your goal, your work ethic, your work-life balance. Then things change. And this goes into the next one. So goal setting and backcasting, big one for me. And so as you can see, I've got sort of arrows everywhere. It's arrows absolutely everywhere. Your big thing is you want to start off at your 5-year mark or your 2-year mark. You can make it like whatever. I wouldn't say 6 months. I wouldn't say a year. 2 years, 5 years is always like my usual go-to when I talk to business owners and stuff like that. So 5 years, talk about where do I want to be in 5 years? Okay, cool. Where do I want to be in 2 years? Okay, cool. Now you can break that down to, you can see those arrows going up for micro goals and milestones. Where I want to be in a year, where I want to be in 6 months. I want to be financially stable. I don't want to be working as much. I want to take weekends off. I want to buy a new car. There's all these little micro things. And this goal setting is not about business. It's about life in general. So once you get that, then you can go back around and say, okay, how do I do this? If I save $20 a week for this amount of times, I can put a down payment on a car. If I do this and this and this, I can get this job. If I can do this and this and this, or this education piece, I can do this. So this is a big one. Like, start long-term and come back. Start macro, come back to the micro, and then set yourself goals as you go. It's a big one. Put it up on your freaking wall. Do it up relatively. I'm not saying like do it up on a spreadsheet like I did, but like, get a piece of butcher's paper, fucking draw exactly what you want. So that every morning when you wake up, you're like, holy shit, I got to do this today. And bang, bang, bang. Every day you get reminded. I have multiple boards in my office here, like broken down to all my companies and everything about what I need to do, what I want to achieve, all these sort of things. And I just section them off and knock them down. Okay, so I wish I could. I'm going to shrink down my screen for a second. Rules to live by, maybe, hopefully. Okay. Work hard. So if you want your goals, if you really, really want your goals, again, it goes back to that thing. It's like, do you want to grind it out for 2 years to get your goal, or do you want to grind it out for 5? Do you want to work those long hours and sacrifice certain things to be able to have a good life afterwards? That's the thing. It comes back to self-awareness. I keep going back to it because I feel like work ethic, work-life balance, like everyone can get caught up and call me a dick and do all this sort of stuff like, oh, you don't know what it's like, blah, 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 blah. But like self-awareness, can you do it? Do you want to do it? Do you want to do it? And this is the big thing, is like, do not be scared to change your mind. So many people like look at that thing. And if you've got that goal in mind, you may swerve all up and down that line till you get to your target, but don't be scared to change your mind. I change my mind all the fucking time. I don't care anymore. Change my mind all the time. If I want to do this, I'll do this. If I don't do this, I don't do this. Plain and simple. You always bounce back from failure. This is a big one. This comes back to self-awareness, and I really want everybody to really like love this and understand this and feel this for me. You always bounce back from your failures. I've had so many failures in my life, and anybody who's close to me knows how hard those failures have been on me, especially my wife, Jillian, who's, again, understanding. Whether it be Little Jumbo, FTW, I've had horrible, debilitating failures in my life that I thought, fuck, I am done. I am spent. I am tapped out. There is nothing I can do to come back from this. And pit of despair in my chest. Bit by bit, you're going to bounce back. It's going to be fucking horrific. It's going to hurt. It's going to have your heart ripped out. Whatever the failure is, whether it be a breakup with a partner, a loss of a job, a loss of a venue, a loss of a friend in a death, you're going to bounce back from these things. We're very resilient people. Like, we really are. Like, human beings as a whether it be tactile or non-tactile, we are enduring 100%. So when you feel like you're in the complete bottom, can't get out, you're going to get out. You're going to be fine. Just push through it. I'm tearing up right now. You're going to be fine. Okay. So if you're feeling like you're at the bottom, please message me if you do. I'll take your message and I'll chat to you. Fuck. Why am I getting teary? But you are going to be fine. And lastly, with all this, be happy. If you wake up every morning and you're fucking miserable, you're doing the wrong thing. I've been talking about this for years. If you wake up and you're fucking miserable, you are doing the wrong thing. Change it up. Stop doing it because your parents told you to do it. Stop doing it because your friends tell you to do it. Stop doing it because your wife tells you to do it. If you are miserable, change the fucking station. You have the remote control to your life. It is all you. So be happy, please. Like, you can't think that you're going to fucking change the world and be miserable at the same time. That doesn't make even any sense. So, post-shift podcast, a little bit different for the post-shift shot for Tuesday. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're listening, please go over to the YouTube channel if you want to check out the slides and the video. 11 a.m. today, if you're listening to this at 9 a.m. when I release it, 11 a.m. today, I'm doing a live stream with Raj Nagra. Brand new live streaming things. Everything's changed. Season 3 of Post Shift Podcast is going to be lit. So, guys, thank you very much. Enjoy your week. Please, if you ever need anything, just reach out. I always love to get messages and whatnot from everybody. Thanks as always. Chat to you real soon, guys. Bye.
Thanks for listening, Post Shifters. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I really enjoy sitting down with friends and peers and just chatting about the industry and getting down to the nuts and bolts of what's really going on out there. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, everything on all the platforms. Just hit it up and I'll do my best to answer any queries or questions you have. I'll see you next week, guys. Bye.